When Minnesota lawmakers head to the Capitol for the start of the upcoming session, they're going to be facing complicated conversations on how to move forward on child care. It's especially true after the Trump administration announced it would be freezing federal child care funding to Minnesota as fraud investigations involving some Twin Cities area centers play out. While many feel that's an important step to weed out bad actors, some are also worried the freeze could put an even larger strain on a child care system already on the brink, including parents like Phoebe Slayton, a mom of two in Hermantown who relies on that funding.
Honestly, I think what would have to happen is I would need to go on like a personal leave of absence from my work and pull my kids temporarily out of daycare.
And Northern News Now's Briggs LaSavage heard from families, providers, and lawmakers. She's going to break down how they all feel the federal funding freeze and fraud allegations could